Hey there, I hope you're having an awesome day. In today's Business Basics training video, we are going to talk about balancing kids and working from home when the kids are on break. Now, if you don't have kids, keep watching because either one of a few things. Number one, you may work with people who have kids, and it's great to sort of have that lens. Or number two, you might someday have kids, or you might have grandkids or godkids or nieces or nephews at the house, and then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh. And I have people who come up to me and say, I have dogs. And I'm like, it's not the same because you can't lock your kids in a cage for like 5 hours while you get stuff done, and you can't leave them at home alone at a young age while you go out and do stuff. And don't worry, I have pets too. It's not a criticism. It's just saying it's totally different world. So for some of you, let's say you have a business or you're in some kind of profession where you're seeing clients or you're on the phone or that kind of thing, and maybe you got into a bit of a groove and then suddenly the kids came home and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So a lot of times what happens with parents is they wrestle with this guilt. It's like, oh my gosh, my child is there and I've got this business thing and I feel guilty if I'm not with my kid, and I feel guilty if I'm not doing business. So let's start with that mindset piece. Number one, I want you to ask yourself, what kind of parent do you want to be? Do you want to teach your children that through hard work, they're going to have great gains, through discipline, they're going to have great gains? Or do you just want to teach them that it's fine not to be focused and disciplined? So I'm sure at the end of the day, and I know being a Gen Xer, I think, I don't know what happened to us as parents, but we feel so guilty. Like if our kid isn't doing all these lessons and we're not like, I love you, Martha Stewart, so no offense, but if we're not like baking perfect things like Martha, or we're, doing the crafts, and oh my gosh, when it's the school play, we had to hand sew the costume as opposed to buy it off Amazon. I don't know why we are like that, but for some reason we ended up like that. And I work with so many entrepreneurs who are in Gen X and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel all this guilt. So the first thing is, what kind of role model do you want to be? I think it's really important to teach our kids to be disciplined and focused. I think it's so important that they understand they are loved and that they're safe, but it's also that dad or mom is a really good role model for what's possible. So having a conversation with them, and even the little ones. Now, if you've got, and as you know, I have a lot of kids, if you have some little ones at home, to be able to work in smaller blocks. So this is my first tip. So if your kids are super little, they're babies, they're 1, 2, you can't necessarily work in these 90-minute blocks I talk about. Your block may be 20 minutes, it might be 30 minutes. So what can you do in that time? You can book your follow-up appointments during nap time. You can do your social media and texting and things while the kids are awake, and you can just say, hey, okay, great, mommy is going to do something with you, or you're planning that you're going to take your child out for a walk. Go and do that and be present, but set some time before you do those things, before you get on the floor and do the big puzzle or whatever it is you're going to do. Set some time before that, and it might be 5 or 10 minutes, to send out a bunch of texts to potential clients and business partners, and then set those follow-ups for nap time. Now, let your people know. This is what I always did. I said, look, one of my kids, I'll use one of my kids' names, AJ. AJ generally goes for a nap at 1, but it might be 1:15, it might be 1:30. Are you flexible if I call you? Let people know. Be honest. I think sometimes you're trying to be so perfect. The world is not perfect. People are not perfect. Just be honest about that. Now, if your kids are a little bit older, you can work in, say, 60 to 90-minute blocks. And so what I do with the kids is I say, look, when I do this, we get this. So I'll say something like, mommy's got to work right now, and I'm going to spend the next hour doing, and I tell them, I don't just make it ambiguous, like I've got to work. I say, look, I'm spending the next hour helping people, teaching a class, working with clients, creating copywriting, whatever it is that I'm doing. And when I'm done, I'm putting my phone away, and we're going to bake cookies, or we're going to go to the playground, or we're going to go to the jump park, or whatever it is we do. In the summer, I have to take shorter blocks when the kids are at home because that's just life. But I want to be the mother that teaches them that hard work is important. I want to be a great role model for my kids. So in the summer, understanding, or winter, wherever it is, if your kids are on break, I want you to really embrace this notion that what your schedule is like now isn't necessarily going to be what your schedule is like a month or two from now. And so it's looking at the schedule every single week, and I usually review mine on Sunday, and saying, okay, what's going on this week? What do we have with the kids? And then building my schedule around that. And the last thing I'm going to teach you, and I hope this is landing and you're getting great wisdom from this, is just about consistency. I see a lot of parents, they start a business, they start a project, and in the summer they just check out. No one can find them, they're not getting back with people. People don't want to do business with people who are inconsistent and unreliable. And it doesn't matter if your summer consistent is 20 to 30 minutes a day, make it 20 to 30 minutes a day. As people get to know you and appreciate you, and you get to be more organized, and I hope you'll come take Organize Your Life with me, you will find that you're able to do a lot more in a short period of time. I see a lot of people waste time, especially with things like social media, and they're like, oh my gosh, it takes me 5 hours to do something. It shouldn't take you 5 hours to do anything. You should be able to get things done in small chunks of time. And the more you can do that, even if it's 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the mid-afternoon, you're going to find that this consistency is going to help you let go of the guilt. It's going to help you let go of the stress. You're going to be a better role model, a better parent, and you really and truly, as the great designer Carolina Herrera says, you can have it all if you're super organized. So for more tips like this, check out my YouTube channel. Come visit me on Facebook at Susan Sly Live. And I would also encourage you to stop by my website, www.susansly.com. Check out all the courses I have. I'd love to work with you. God bless, and I'll see you next time.